Okay, so far we have learned how to handle exceptions in Java and how to read from a file into our Java program. Now we are going to learn how to write to a text file from the program. So the program will generate an output that will be written into a file rather than to a terminal. Let's see how that works. It's very similar to what we have done with the reading. Instead of using file input stream, we are going to use file output stream. Again, in this case, I'm using anonymous object method. So I'm not going to declare a object name for file output stream to be used in this construction. Rather, I'm just going to construct it anonymously and use it as an argument into another constructor. And similar to the scanner, we are going to use a print writer this time to write. Scanner reads from a file. Print writer actually writes into a file in this case. So we need to declare a variable of type print writer, and we name it output writer. Again, we can't do anything about it until we put it inside the try and catch block. And this time our catch is going to be more generic. IO exception handles all kind of IO exception aside from file not found, error writing to the disk, or other type of exceptions that you may run into when you are doing any file IO. So IO exception is a more powerful class for writing than reading. With the reading, the only one we probably were running into is file not found. But you can also use IO exception for the reading as well as the writing. It gives a little bit more generic type of exceptions. Again, we're using a generic object named E to handle the exception, in this case, error writing to the output and exiting the program. There are a couple of more things that we need to note. Number one is when we are generating this streamline to stream into output data.txt, what this does, it creates one if there is none. Also, the second argument in here decides what to do with the existing file. If it is true, means appending is true, which means that if there is an existing file, append to the end of the file. So let's say, for example, we already have an existing file, text file, with these values in it, 1, 7, 7, 4, and a 3. And we're about to insert 2 also into this text file. When we use true, what it does, it goes to the end of the file and it appends the 2 to the end of the file. So this would be the case if we set the append to be true. Now, if the append is false, it will be a little bit different. So if we set this value to be false, what it would do, it would go and clear everything out and put the 2 in there. So it will basically rewrite the file if you make it false. So if you make it true, it will append. If you make it false, it will basically recreate a new one. Okay, so that's one difference. The other difference is that when we are done with our writing, make sure that you close the file. Other than that, the print line method for the writer is similar to what we had seen with the system.println. So we are using output writer this time, which is of class print writer. And we are using print line methods to put these 2 lines into output data.txt. So after we run this program the first time, it will generate this. First line written into a text file, second line written into a text file. And that's what we are saying in here. Now, if you run it the second time, it's going to append this again to the end of it. If you run it the third time, it keeps on appending. But if you make this false, it will clear everything out and again, once again, generate something look like this. So you can play around with it and see for yourself with a true and a false what will happen to your generated output file. Now, just keep in mind, unlike the input file, you don't have to create this. If there is none, the program will generate one for you. You can just pause this video and go through this program. Just keep in mind there are 3 imports that you need to take care of also. Again, file output stream for the streaming, print writer for the class print writer that writes into a file, and IO exception for catching the IO exception in here. So don't forget these 3 imports as well. You can pause this video and look at the code and then write your own. After that, please go to Canvas and complete the third assignment. Thank you.